any Eastern Conference team to win the title. We are joined once again by Chris Broussard. Chris, with LeBron gone, who's your pick to win the East next year?
I think the clear favorite is Boston. Clear
Really?
favorite, yeah. But if Philadelphia, and I know Steven Jackson was just talking about it, I do think they're the favorite to get Kawhi if he's traded. The relationship with Brett Brown, who was a coach in San Antonio. I think, as much as I would have liked to have seen LeBron in Philadelphia, I actually think Kawhi or would have been Paul George is a better fit, a more seamless fit.
Right.
You know, like you don't have to worry about who's going to handle the ball.
correct.
Like Kawhi could just step in day one and be just a much better version of Robert Covington. And so I think if Kawhi goes there, I'm going with Philadelphia because even though they got beat 4-1 by Boston in the playoffs, it could have easily been 4-1 the other way, right? Those games were close. They just couldn't do it down the clutch.
Yep.
Let's see what Markelle Fultz, I mean, if they get Kawhi, he may be gone. But I think Philly is right there, but I'd go with Boston as the clear favorite. And I don't think you can write off Toronto because their problem was LeBron.
And that was their only problem.
That was their only problem.
They just shrank at the mere sight of LeBron James.
Guys, it's Boston. I mean, they got to the finals without Gordon Hayward, without Kyrie, and we watched these young guys, the Jaylen Browns, the Jason Tatums, the Roziers. We watched them grow in front of us. It's hard for me to believe now. It's going to be interesting to see how they mix this together because we know these guys wouldn't have gotten the playing time that they got had Gordon Hayward and Kyrie been there. Now, Skip, how do you bring them back? Gordon Hayward's going to want 34, 35 minutes. Kyrie's going to want those minutes. So now Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Rozier are like, well, wait a minute now. We're not backup players. You saw what we're capable of doing. I still think they're the favorite. And now they get cut. Kawhi goes to Philly. All bets are off. Now, we keep hearing rumblings that Boston, kicking the tires. They've offered a package, something around Jaylen Brown. The Spurs said, nah, we want Jason Tatum. And Danny Ainge keep hanging up the phone because you mentioned Jason Tatum, that phone getting hung up on you. So anybody else, I think he would be willing to part ways with anyone else on his roster other than Jason Tatum, including Kyrie or Gordon Hayward.
So if Kawhi goes to Philly, though, you got Philly or Boston?
I'll take Philly.
Okay.
I'll take Philly.
So
with Embiid and Simmons and Kawhi, because Kawhi the way. Because we saw what Covington did. Well, okay. We saw what Covington didn't do against the Boston Celtics. I don't think there will be a disappearing act with Kawhi if he were to go to Philly and they were to face the Celtics.
Unless he's hurt.
Stop, Skip! You better stop it, Skip.
Am I right?
No, you're not right.
No, I don't agree.
Stop taking shots at the man.
So, as we speak right here, right now, the best player left in the Eastern Conference is, sorry, I almost knocked this over, is Joel Embiid. And it ain't even close. He is a monster. What's that?
Adetokounmpo in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
They're going to be tough.
They're going to be tougher. Yeah. I love Dante DiVincenzo that they drafted the 17th overall. He's going to help them a lot.
And Budenholzer.
They are coming. And you can't dismiss Toronto. And I won't be surprised if Toronto ends up being the betting favorite going in because they're loaded. They got two All-Stars. Huh? Well, you say that, but it was just LeBron who did that to him every year. They just dried up right before your very eyes. After they'd win, what would they win?
59.
59. Now, nobody's going to talk about the baby dinosaurs ever again.
Okay. So, when you have the best player in the Eastern Conference, and I'm talking about a two-way player because he can flat out protect the rim, Joel Embiid, you have something that nobody else has. And that last month of the season, I picked them to win the East last year, and I'm proud of my pick. And they were hanging right in there, but they were just too young to get by Brad Stevens and Boston, even without Kyrie, obviously, and Gordon Hayward. But the point is, Embiid's 24 years old. Sarge is 24 years old. Ben Simmons is 21 years old. They're only going to get better and better and better. And after their scar tissue that they took from Boston last year, I'm not going to bet against them because listen, the last month of the regular season, they were the best team in the East, and they were the best defensive team in the East. They are hellacious good on defense. And Robert Covington ranked in the top 5 of individual defensive win shares all year long. I don't like him on offense. I don't like him taking shots he shouldn't take because he took a bunch of them where I'd be like, I'm rooting for
Well,
him.
he's
'cause I
spot
picked
up
him.
threes.
First half of the season, he was hitting threes.
He was hitting
then he
threes,
got
and then when the lights got real bright and Boston got real green, he got real
But
bad.
the thing is, the Celtics are going to be so deep because, Tatum or Brown, somebody's going to have to come off the bench, Skip. I'm
not
sorry.
Tatum. Not
Some,
Tatum.
okay.
The way I see it is this, to me, this is their starting 5. Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown at the 2, Gordon Hayward at the 3, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford.
Okay.
And then you got Marcus Morris, Marcus Smart.
I'm not a Gordon Hayward fan. He doesn't belong in that
Well,
starting
here's
lineup.
the question. Well, you don't think he should start?
No, I don't.
They're paying that man
Who's-
$30 million. He better start.
Well,
I'm just
here's the
saying.
thing, though. If that's the starting lineup, to me, obviously Kyrie is probably your first option. Tatum, I think, should be ahead of Hayward
I
in
do.
terms of options.
Yeah.
So how effective can Hayward be as the
At the
third option?
because he's never been anything but one.
Exactly. And maybe Jaylen. I mean, I like Jaylen Brown. Like in a year or two, I think he'll be better than Gordon Hayward. And maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, I wouldn't
'Cause
want to.
we got to see how that injury affected Gordon Hayward. Because remember, he hadn't played in a year, and he's coming back off a very serious injury, and he had cleanup in May, Skip. So we still don't know what he's going to be. So that's going to be very. Jason Tatum, he's like he's ready to take off a superstar.
Oh yeah.
He's like he's ready. Jaylen Brown played both ends. He can shoot the 3, can put the ball on the floor. You know, Big Al. Big Al played. If Big
You know
Al,
what? I got to say this about Gordon Hayward. That hysteria that he brought, that
he brought with it.
Remember when everybody wanted Gordon Hayward? It was like Kirk Cousins hysteria. You're way over.
comparison.
You're way overpaying for what he really, really is.
Right.
What he can really do for you is what Kirk Cousins will not be able to do in Minnesota.
Well, maybe Skip. Now that he's in the East and LeBron is gone, he'll look a lot better. Because when you're in the West and you got to go through Durant and LeBron's in the West, and then you got Paul George in the West. So all the position, he's at 3. So you look at all the threes over there. So now maybe in the East, you look at him through a different lens as opposed to him being in the West. Because he was an afterthought in the West.
But you know what?
He was.
In fairness to him, that last year in the West in Utah, he played really well, made the All-Star team.
He did.
And in the playoffs played really well
He
against
did.
the Clippers and led them to victory. So, we'll see how the ankle is. But what I would do if I'm Boston, because look, he's on the max. Al Horford is a max. Kyrie is a max. Tatum eventually is going to be a max. I would put Hayward in my offer to San Antonio. Now, maybe they want to see him, obviously have the doctors check him out. Maybe it has to happen after he plays a month or
I
whatever.
put Kyrie. Look,
You
there's,
would
a
put
good,
Kyrie in
there's
there?
a good chance Kyrie's gonna want to go to Brooklyn. Kyrie's
York,
gonna want to
New
go.
York.
So Kyrie's gonna want to go elsewhere. Do you run the risk of him leaving and you get nothing, Skip?
Or the Knicks, right?
Right.
Isn't that-
I think the Knicks are the favorite for Kyrie
exactly.
outside of Boston.
So if I have to package Kawhi, if I have to package, Kyrie and Hayward to get now, you're gonna have
But
to.
Kawhi's a risk too.
Yeah.
You don't know that he's staying. So you giving up 2 stars for one. That's.
But
I don't know.
they got all them draft. They still got these draft picks.
Hayward, Rozier, and Memphis is number 1 pick. That's my offer. If I'm Boston,
They're gonna want Brown. They're gonna want another player. You know they're gonna want another player.
Marcus Smart.
They're gonna get out of here. They're gonna like, what about old Jaylen Brown? Y'all don't want
Look,
Jaylen.
there's the thing. Pop makes mountains out of molehills. Like he'll
He does.
take a guy that's just pretty good elsewhere or
Hey.
not even that good.
Hey, Kawhi Leonard was a molehill when they drafted him because nobody saw that coming, right?
Yeah, no.
At San Diego
Nobody at all.
State,
They
he
stole him
I know.
from who was it? Indiana.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
George Hill.
And the guys that are
You like that?
And
George Hill, you got him now.
I ain't got them. I'm in L.A.
Yeah, you
Me and
you
Brown in
done
LA.
with the Cavs?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
totally done with
Oh
the
yeah.
Cavs. You
I
totally
ain't got no more gear for the Cavs. I ain't got no more gear.
You're
for the Cavs.
out?
I'm out. Out. O-U-W-T. Out.
Chris Broussard is not out.
Well, you can
I'm
say.
not, I'll pay
What?
attention to him.
No,
But
you won't.
it won't be worth rooting for him.
Well, sir, I told him earlier, I can still see Cleveland making the playoffs next year. The
Thank
eighth
you.
spot.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
Chris.
can.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know
You're
who's.
just saying that.
I'm not just
'cause
saying
it takes
that. No,
LeBron
I
down
am
a
not.
few notches. You know that.
They have too many players left in the Eastern Conference not to make the 8th spot in the playoffs.
They make-
And
Other
again,
than
they have
Love, who do they have?
Nobody.
all the same
Do they
guys.
need to keep Rodney Hood?
Why not? I liked it. I loved him. You both loved him when they acquired him.
How many games they win next year? Bet they don't win 40.
Well, it's
Yeah, I
only
think
going to
they're- I
take
think
about
they're under
40 to
40.
make the 8th
I
spot.
think they're under 40.
No,
I don't think they
40.
made the playoffs.
No,
I do.
No.
Kevin loves. He'll go back to being Minnesota.
Let's see.
Kevin.
Let's see.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, good
It's
luck.
going to
with
be a
that.
fun season, seeing how everyone pans out. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
The LeBron talk is going to continue. Where does LeBron rank
Oh,
among
here
the
we
greatest
go.
Lakers ever?
You're on.